Hey traders, TG Watkins here, and welcome to the free video tonight. It is December 20th, Monday, and the last time I did this, I was saying that I think the market is in real trouble and that we're seeing some problems out there. And I believe at the time we were saying, we might get a bit of a bounce on some of these names, but I think that the bounce is going to be into resistance. Namely, that was Tesla and AMD. So those have not been good trades. They got a little bounce right into resistance, as I mentioned, and then we had price roll over. As far as we're seeing, there just seems to be a lot of news stacking up. Keep in mind that Omicron, I guess, is still being a thing. Governments are talking about lockdowns again. There's just a lot of negative pressure about that situation going on. Tapering has been happening. In fact, doubled the amount that they are tapering. We've got interest rates that are going to be going up at least 2, probably 3 times next year. And the market is just not happy about a lot of things out there. So much for the Santa Claus rally. Now, one caveat, if you guys remember back to 2018, we were all wondering about the Santa Claus rally back then too. And it wasn't until basically New Year's that the rally came. So he was a little bit late. And it was when the Fed reversed their interest rate increases. Now, I don't think that can happen this time because there isn't any room to reverse interest rates because we're already pretty much at zero. And so they're kind of stuck in a corner, and we're just going to have to let the market do its thing. Now, you can try and trade short. It's been difficult. Obviously, there have been moves, but the short side I find to be difficult just because the way things move. The market is, I think, topping. It's also basically in a situation where it's just chop. This is not easy stuff to trade. So if you guys, maybe you can sell premium if you can do that. Otherwise, just get out of the way. You don't have to be trading all the time. And that's kind of where I'm at, is I'm sitting on my hands quite a bit. Now, going into this, from my standpoint, I want to review a few things that I've been seeing. Now, we had the FOMC last week on Wednesday. That was this big spike. Now, I didn't get suckered into this. I've got a rule that I don't trade until the day after the FOMC for exactly this situation. And the other thing is, when price spiked all the way up here, I look for confirmation of the move, meaning I want to see then price hold the 15-minute 50 at least. And the next day, it did not. It popped up a little bit at the open, and then it promptly sold off all day long. And then when it got right down to the 15-minute 50, it looked like it wanted to keep going, so it did. And then coming into Friday of last week, we could see price basically flagging sideways right into the underside of a downtrending 15-minute 50 with the Moxie indicator below zero. And, we could have looked at this and said, well, is there going to be a double bottom? But if we zoom in, you can see that price on Friday pretty much closed on its lows. It looked like it was going down. And again, the Moxie indicator was telling us there was definitely no hope of price moving up the other direction. The only other saving grace that I saw people talking about was that price was at the daily 50. I didn't think that was really going to be a situation. Now, where are we today? We could say that we're coming into a double bottom area, and maybe we're having some divergence. But I've been talking a lot in the options room and to my subscribers that double bottoms are only double bottoms when they work. Otherwise, this is a resting place until price goes lower because everybody is looking left, battling over this and trying to say, is this going to hold or is it going to fall? Now, if it holds, great. You can take a trade to the long side for however long it's going to work. If it's not going to work, then you watch for price to continue to move down. I'll show you with the IWM, and then you'll see that stuff continue to fade down like that. So we're really in a situation where if this bounces, and I really don't see that happening right now, nothing on the 15-minute time frame, nothing here says that it's ready to bounce. But if we do bounce at some point, I would ultimately be concerned that the bounce is going to be into resistance, just like it was here, 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 and here. Because if we bounce, we are bouncing right into the underside of a downtrending hourly 50, and the Moxie indicator is below zero. And here on the daily chart, the Moxie indicator is below zero. So I'm really not seeing good stuff. If we look at the IWM real quick, I just want to show you what basically a failed double bottom looks like. You can see that price was never able to hold any moving average there on the 15-minute time frame. And on the hourly, you can see price continue to get rejected by the underside of a downtrending hourly 50 in this case, and the Moxie indicator stayed below zero. Now, maybe again, we're getting into an area where it's going to bounce because price doesn't seem to really want to keep going too much lower, but so far nothing is held. I don't see anything concrete yet, and just we need to be careful out there because things could always keep getting worse. Now, if we look at, I want to show you XLP. This was an area, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, things like that that have really popped up. But just to show you that even strong sectors pull back, and just to see how they pull back and that you were in an area that was overbought, for me, I like to look at third ATRs. And you can see that price got outside of the daily third ATR, which indicates that it was overbought. And then you can also see that price was gapping off of the daily 8 EMA, which is overbought. And you can see that there was negative divergence on the 15-minute time frame, and there was a giant gap between price and the hourly 50. Now, that being said, this dip might actually end up being viable. So if we are trying to look for a place to hide out and put some money to make any kind of gains during this time, this might be the area. And I don't see it yet, but we're gonna have to confirm that price, comes down here, finds a low. This could set up as a trampoline move on the hourly time frame, but I gotta wait for it to turn around. I like to see price get back on top of the 15-minute 50, and I like to see the Moxie indicator above zero. And currently, we are not there yet. So even XLP on this potential buy the dip, I still like to see it shape up a little bit further. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight of what's going on out there. Basically, it's real rough, and it's not an easy place to find long trades. So maybe be looking to the short side. If you're not comfortable on the short side, just stay in cash and move aside for a little bit, because it's not the greatest environment out there. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me